All right, great to have everyone back to this session. We saved the best for the last. Our next speaker will talk about the hottest topic in the industry, deploying a consumer data platform. What's the BaaS all about? Presented to you live all the way from the USA by David Rapp. He's the founder and CEO of the Customer Data Platform Institute, a vendor neutral organization with over 10,000 members, which educates marketeers and technologists about customer data management. Welcome, David.
Very quickly, I bought recently at a store, I bought a kayak at a local store, and it was a very excellent experience. Bought it all online, got what we needed, found it right away. It was great until I began every week to get messages from those people trying to sell me the same kayak that I already bought. Every time I go online, they try to sell me the kayak that I already bought from them in their store. They know that I bought this kayak, but the system that sold me the kayak does not talk, apparently, to the system that sends me these ads. So the lack of communication between these two systems is exactly the problem that the customer data platform is intended to solve. So let's talk about how that solves the problem. And I hope you're seeing my slides. I have no way to know. All right, so customer data, why does it matter? Why do we care if systems can share customer data from one system to another system? The reason is that customers demand a unified experience. They're very explicit about this, and they really are quite specific what they want. They want an experience that gives them better price, better service, better offerings, convenience. They do not want personalization. That's the thing they want least. So when we talk about customer data and using it, don't think that customers want personalized ads. They actually kind of hate advertising in general. What they want is they want a better customer experience. So how do we do that? How does a customer data platform solve that problem? Now, many people think, well, customers also demand privacy, and there's a conflict. They say, oh, these are conflicting. Either they're going to share my data for a great experience, or they're not going to share their data because they want privacy. But in fact, the two work together. They are friends. Because if you give customers a good experience, then they will gladly share their data in order to get that experience. But again, good experience, not good personalized advertising. So what makes it hard to do work with customer data, to give them that good experience and to earn the trust that lets them share their data with you in return for that experience? Assembling their customer profiles. The number one obstacle that we find in our research is assembling the data. Staff cooperation right up there, we'll talk about that later, but the number one thing is simply getting the data all in one place. And that's what CDPs do. If you remember nothing else from today, remember that CDPs build profiles. It's really all they do. There's nothing that complicated. Write that down. CDPs build profiles. I'll wait while you write it down. Okay, you wrote it down. Formal definition of CDP: packaged software that builds a persistent, unified customer database that's accessible to other systems. Okay, that's a nice, good, formal definition. It means a lot. We could spend the next 20 minutes just talking through that actual definition, but we don't have 20 minutes to spare, so just remember again, CDPs build profiles. We'll go just a little deeper here. What does a CDP really do? Well, it takes data in from your various source systems, your CRM and your web and your e-commerce and whatever external data sources you have, and then it loads it and transforms it and links it up and builds those unified customer profiles, puts it all in one place and makes it available, and then actually makes it shareable to delivery systems that actually talk to your customers, which is your CRM and your website and your mobile and your data management platform for your advertising, also all your analytical systems. So in essence, the CDP sits in the middle, at least the way that we draw the picture. It gets the data from all your systems, builds the profiles, and then shares them out. Now that is just the beginning of what you really do with your customer data. In reality, of course, you do a lot of things with your customer data. You analyze it, and you classify recommendations, and do all kinds of campaigning activities, which are your outbound campaigns and your personalization and your real-time interactions. Again, we could spend 20 minutes, we won't. And So then finally it gets delivered. So there's a lot of intermediate steps between what happens when you get the profile built and what happens when you deliver it. And as we'll see later, some CDPs actually do those analytics and those campaign things. Some don't, but what makes them a CDP is that dark blue boxes that they do the loading and the transforming and the assembly of building profiles. Again, CDPs build profiles. Now, other systems also work with customer data. Other systems might even build something that looks like a profile. So the question then becomes, well, what makes the CDP so special? And the answer, not surprisingly, is, remember our little definition? Well, the CDP ticks all the boxes of our little definition. It's packaged software. That unified customer profile blows out if you extend it a little to having all data sources, storing all detail, retaining it over time persistently, keeping it unified, and so on. So different systems, data lakes, data warehouses, they don't meet all the criteria. They're not packaged, like a data lake is not packaged or a warehouse not packaged. Data hubs and tag managers don't store the data. CRMs and marketing clouds don't really keep all the data. They just keep some of the data. Data management platforms don't keep all the detail. Email and CMS, again, don't build unified profiles. They're not very good at sharing data. So only a CDP does what a CDP does. And that's not too surprising. Every system is optimized for its purpose. Only the CDP is optimized to create those complete unified customer profiles. Now, the other thing to bear in mind, CDPs are not just for marketers. They were originally deployed often in a marketing department, but every department throughout the company actually uses CDPs. And here's some typical use cases. We have our one about removing the retargeting audience after they make a purchase, my kayak problem, but also giving the call center or the call center agents real-time view web interactions, very common. Positioning the airplane operationally is a real case where they put the airplanes where the frequent flyers were so they could make sure that if they needed a spare, they would inconvenience the fewest Clapton flyers. So any department, every department can use a CDP. What would you do is the question if you could share data across systems. Here's some of the systems that are commonly used to assemble data for a CDP. Your mobile apps, your transactions, your commerce. So again, we don't have too much time, but if you want to spend a moment wondering, well, what if I could combine any of these two systems, what could I do? Because that's how you really figure out what a CDP might do. What two systems don't share data that I would like to share data? That I would get, what would the value be, and if I could do that, what would it be worth? And that's, if there's enough answers that are yes to those questions, if there are enough systems that are not sharing data that you could like to share data, and you would get value if they share data, that would be the reason you would get a CDP. So how do you find the right CDP? Good question. Lots of answers. There are lots of CDPs out there. There's about 150 of them. Basically, what do I want to do? What's stopping me from doing it? So in particular, what two systems are not sharing data that I would like to share, and what's the best solution? So how I know what I want to do, it comes down to the programs I want to run that I can't run, and then what are the use cases, the specific ways I would use those systems. What's stopping me from doing it is the difference between the needs, which are based on my use cases, and my existing resources, and those are my gaps, what I'm missing, what's stopping me. And the best solution is what features do I need versus what features are available in the systems that are out there versus the gaps, and then what's the best choice, what's the best fit between the things I can't do and the things that are provided by the systems I might buy, because different systems will close different gaps. Again, lots of different CDPs. All those functions we looked at, some CDPs just do the data stuff. Some add analytics capabilities, some do the campaigning as well, some add delivery, some even do operations. So you could have inside of your e-commerce system, you could have a CDP if it pulled in data from all other sources, not just the e-commerce system, and if it shared the data out with all other systems, not just used it internally. When you get down to delivery and operations, we talk about having a CDP inside for exactly that reason. It's just one of many functions available. So what's the right type of CDP? What are mistakes to avoid? Here's some things that we see people doing that they really shouldn't do, okay? They get ahead of their users. We see in our analysis that in our data, that lack of support from marketing staff and IT staff and senior management are the top challenges for people whose CDP projects are still underway or still struggling a bit. Okay, so you have to have that support from everyone in the company, or they don't get engaged and projects don't get executed properly. What really happens is they make mistakes and they have to go back and redo it. Focusing on the system cost. We see when people select systems, you can select on features, you can select on cost. The people who select on cost in general, not just with CDPs, with all MarTech, are less happy than the people who actually selected all their features, who did their work. So you really do have to focus on the features. You don't buy the cheapest system, obviously. You don't buy the easiest to use. You don't buy the one where there happen to be people available who know how to run it. You buy the one that really fits your needs. You have to do that analysis. And then inflated expectations. CDPs are great and they can do a lot of things, but you have to start with the basic efficiency things like reducing effort and pulling campaign lists and spending having less reliance on your IT group. Those are the ones that return immediate value. Once you have the CDP up and running, you can expand to do the more exciting things like personalization. So start small, work quickly, in a more expansive fashion. Here's our summary. So we talked a little about what not to do. What have we learned? What's some myths? Myths is, so nobody knows what a CDP is. CDP is ill-defined. No. Definition is clear. Again, build profiles. CDPs build profile. Nothing confusion. Myth, CDPs only for marketing. No. Supports all departments. We saw that. The myth, it replaces CRM. No. CDP is quite different from CRM. You still need a CRM. It doesn't replace it. CDP is a technical project. No. CDP is a business project. Organizational readiness is the single most important thing for success. What have we learned? Reality, unified customer data is necessary for business success. You need it. It supports experience and privacy. It's not a choice. You have to do both together. CDP is the only system designed to build and share unified customer profiles. Other systems are good at what they do. They're just not good at that because they weren't built for that. CDPs are. That's why it's different. That's why you need that in addition to your other systems. Reality, CDP value depends on user engagement, selection properly, and well-planned deployment. Doesn't solve the problem by itself. You have to actually do work. You knew that. Finally, reality is use cases set the destination on your road to success. They are the all-important step in your CDP journey, so be sure to build your CDP use cases. And I believe we have finished, possibly early.
Thank you so much, David, for this brilliant keynote. And I'm sure our audience, they have taken away some valuable notes from your presentation.
Hope so.
Thank you, David.